Good morning, you lovely, lovely people. Welcome back again to what is going to be another rainy day here in Mindanao, in northern Mindanao. The decline of the foreigner, the decline of the expat, wasting away. And I mean wasting away, not necessarily because you're not doing anything, but wasting away where you can't get on with the food. And I know many people say, you can get whatever you want in the Philippines. You can, if you're in the right places. And I mean, if you're in towards Manila way, where there are a lot of foreigners, and Cebu, Bohol, Boracay, Palawan, all of them places, even down Davao, places like that, you can get what you want, more or less, what will suit your food needs. So that's not a problem if you're in them places. And I've got to say this because a lot of foreigners say, you can get what you want. You can't get what you want. It depends where you are. It all depends where you are. And the foreigners that say, it doesn't matter where you are. Look, I've been here for 9 years. And I know I've been around here. I've been in the SMs here. And because there's not that many foreigners here, they don't cater for them. You might go down the aisle of SM and you might get the import aisle, which is very, very short, but you've only got like Pringles and Heinz tomato ketchup. They haven't got the things that your daily like to make a good spaghetti bolognese like we have in the UK, if you like that, or a nice savoury pasta. Difficult getting the savoury things like the dolmio sauce, for an example. You might be able to get it in Manila or in Cebu, but here you can't. And the reason I'm saying the demise or the decline of the foreigner getting slimmer is because I see it here. And there's a couple of guys that I've known who's lived here for a long time. And we were talking about it, and that's what's made me make this video. And many of them are like me. They aren't particularly keen on Filipino food. Now, I know a lot of you might be, but I'm a very picky eater. I always have been. And it's a disadvantage if you live somewhere where you can't really get what you want, what you like to eat. Like I said, I'm a picky eater. So I don't really go to fiestas that much because it's kind of an insult to the host if you decline what they've made for that fiesta. Well, rather than me decline it, I just don't go, or I go later when the food's been eaten, so I'm not put in a spot where I've got to eat something. A lot of you people love Filipino food. There's a couple of dishes that I do like, but that's far few and in between. I can't eat things like the sardines here, the tins of sardines, and I can't do that. Or the beef loaf, I don't know what that is. I don't think there's any beef in that at all. Or the corned beef. Maybe the corned beef here, the Australian corned beef, or the holiday, it's called the brand corned beef. It's just not corned beef to me. So I tend not to go to these places until a little bit later when I've been invited, when the food is gone. Because I don't want to decline it and upset the host, because they do get offended. Now, a lot of people who come here are overweight, all right? Unfortunately, I'm not one of them in that way. I can't afford to lose any weight. But for the people who's overweight, it probably does you a favour if you don't like the food here, because you're going to get a little bit more fitter. You're going to lose a bit of weight, like I've seen with some guys in Dipolog. But that being said, many of you can diverse your eating. Like my father could eat anything. He could absolutely eat anything. My mother's side of the family, like me, so I take after my mother's side of the family like that. So what I'm saying is when you are coming here to live, if you're on a holiday, it doesn't matter. You can go to restaurants, like Italian restaurants, Korean restaurants, Any kind of restaurant, you can find them here. If you're, if you're only here for a holiday, that's fair enough, because you've got plenty of money to go to these places continually for the time that you're here. But if you're here living and you're on a certain budget, then really going to restaurants every day is not really an option, is it? Unless you want to go to crappy McDonald's every day. I mean, I'd rather not do that. So for me, I've stopped eating meat. Honestly, people, I've stopped eating meat. And the reason I've stopped eating meat is I can't find a decent bit. And I've gone to SM, I've been to many different places. I don't go to the markets. And I tell you for why I don't buy meat from the market is because a lot of it has not gone through the abattoir, the slaughterhouse. So like a lot of it hasn't got that stamp on it. And I know what happens here. I've seen it myself, where a pig might die. It might strangle itself with with the tie or something like that. It might get bitten by a snake and be dead. Well, they will not just get rid of that, like bury that. They will sell it, and it's called double kill. And I see it here often. I see it all the time. Not every day, of course, but I see it quite regular. Where the animal has died, a cow, like a carabao where it's been in the river and there's been a flash flood and it's drowned. And you see the people going down to the river here, 5 or 6 of them with knives, and they just slaughter it there and bring it back and sell it. So at the market, at the local market here. So that for me is out of the question. And even going to SM here, I'm not about where you are, I'm just saying here. Now, sometimes you might get a decent pork chop, sometimes you might get a decent bit of belly pork, but it's kind of hit and miss. It's hit and miss. And the chicken, I tell you, Filipinos can eat anything, honest to God. There was one time, and this is the God's honest truth, and this was going back a couple of years ago, and I was in Dipolo and I was having a few beers, and it was outside a sari shop, close to a market, and I got a load of vegetables, because that's what I eat now. I just eat vegetables. And pasta. I eat pasta as well. But there's this guy, and he'd been there for a while, because he was drunk, and he had a carrier bag, and he had a chicken with it. He had a chicken, a whole chicken. Now, it was red hot, right? And I was there for a few hours. He was there for a few hours. And he was on about this chicken. So he took it out the bag, and this chicken was green. It was going green. Where it had been outside, he just put it on the table, and the sun was shining on this raw chicken. And you could see the slime that was starting to shine. It was starting to get shiny. And I said, that chicken's going to be no good. Nah, that's all right. That's all right. Now, it might be for them. But for me, nah, no. And this is why I don't eat a lot around other people's houses here. It's because of this very reason. What's good for a Filipino? They got cast iron stomachs. My father had a cast iron stomach. Me, I'm like a delicate flower. My stomach is easily upset. And I've been stung here too many times to even go to street food stalls. Now, if you have a good turnover, the food is probably fresh. But what they don't show you, and because I used to go fishing nighttime on the boulevard in Dipolog, and when these places are closed at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, there's no more customers, they close, right? Now, these stalls are there all night. And then you see the dogs, the cats, the rats, and they are all over the griddles. All over the griddles, and they're everywhere. I think, that's it. I'm not going to buy anything from these street food vendors. Now, a lot of you don't see that because a lot of you aren't around at that time of the morning. Now, I was regular when I first came here, fishing a lot, and I used to see that all the time. The market here, when that's closed of a night time, there's dogs everywhere here. There's dogs everywhere, and they are everywhere on the market. Where they are serving the food the next day. They're chopping the meat up. And I don't know if you've noticed this as well, but when you go into a market here, And it could be early morning, it could be afternoon. I can't go in afternoons. I can't go after like 10 o'clock because of the smell of the fish. It's just rotting fish. And you'll go to the market, right? And you see all the meat laid out. And you'll walk up and there's all flies. The flies are everywhere. And they'll see you come in and they start swatting. Sir, pork, 3.20 a kilo or whatever it is. And I think, oh no, and there's bloody blue bottles. Nah. So I don't eat meat no more. I've become vegetarian. Now, what I have done in the past, and I'll probably do it again, is buy a pig. And not to raise it. The pig's already been raised. And you can buy, I'll only buy a 25 or 30 kilo pig. And I will have it killed and I will be there. I won't watch it because I'll have my ears like that. But then I know it's fresh. And then I'll bring it back here and I'll hang it overnight. That's the problem here. Have you noticed how the meat tastes different here? And it's because it's not hung. When you're in England, you get a nice bit of beef, like a bit of steer beef, which is bred for eating, and that's been hung for 3 weeks, 4 weeks maximum probably, but 3 weeks, and that breaks down all of the fibers in the meat, and it tenderizes it. Trying to get a bit of tender meat here is damn difficult, and that's because it's slaughtered, and a lot of them here buy pigs and slaughter them on the street, where the shop is. They'll buy a side of pig or a whole pig, it's probably their pig, and they'll cut it up in front of you and they will sell it. It's still warm. And that's why, to me, you can't get a nice bit of tender tasting meat here. So beef, I've bought beef in different places here and it's all been the same. If you've got a pressure cooker for your beef or your shanks or anything like that, it's okay for stews and that, for soups. But steak, I haven't had a decent bit of steak since I've been here. I really haven't. I've had some that's been mediocre, but I haven't had anything that I can say, whoa, that's bloody beautiful, I'm going back there. I haven't. So for the people who's overweight, and you're a bit like me, where you're a bit of a picky eater, you will lose weight. I've lost weight here. I was, when I first come here, I was 78 kilos. I know that's not a lot. It's about 12 stone? No, 11 and a half stone or something, or 12 stone. Now I'm 10. I've lost 2 stone. And I can't really afford to lose any weight. But I feel better for it, I think. And then working out on this orchard now that we've got is keeping me fit. But I'm now just eating vegetables, and I make soups. I make a lot of soups with mungo beans. Mungo beans, I chop the cabbage up, tomato puree in there, peas, mixed vegetables. I like that. But my wife doesn't like all that. She might eat it once and that's it, Well, I make a big pan of it, and I'll put it in the fridge, and that lasts me like 2 or 3 days. But I've noticed as well, the more beans I'm eating, it kind of affects your joints. People say, yeah, if you eat beans and these mungo beans, it'll make you... Well, I didn't know I had arthritis. I don't know if I've got arthritis. I haven't been diagnosed with arthritis, but sometimes my joints hurt a little bit. Maybe because of the quantity of beans that I'm eating. So now I just have fruit and vegetables. It's a very healthy diet, but I'm missing the protein. So I've been buying nuts, and I don't know if you're going to buy nuts here. Loose nuts. I don't mean these, I can't remember what you call them now, but there's little bags of mixed things. It's just not good. It's just salt. But I buy loose nuts in the Friendly. Cashew nuts. What's the other ones I buy? Walnuts. They're very expensive. But that's the way I'm getting my proteins, is through the beans, the lentils, and through the peanuts. I do miss meat. So, I haven't stopped eating it because I don't like it. I've stopped eating it because I don't like it here. Let me know what you think, people. You people might love Filipino food, or you people, wherever you are in the Philippines, you might have no problems in finding what you want. Even eggs taste a bit different to me here. Even eggs taste different. I don't know why. The chickens taste different. And have you ever gone to those places where it's like a roasted chicken? Lechon manuk, they call it. It's on the roast, you know, and it's got a chain and it goes round the coals. But I started getting them a while ago. But then they're dry. Where it goes round on there so much, it's dry. You know, there's no juice in it. And it's only about that big anyway. It's like a pigeon. So I don't get that no more. Yesterday, I got a bit of, what's it called? Lechon liempo, which is belly pork. I got a bit yesterday, what had gone round on the thing, and I had a couple of bits of it. It's tough as old boots, tough as leather. I just give it to Jackie. So when I have these bad experiences of buying meat, it just really puts me off buying anymore. Let me know what you think of the demise of the expat through loss of weight. Here. Let me know what you think, people. It's only my opinion of living here for such a long time and not being able to enjoy meat and foods. I'm a simple guy, people. It doesn't take a lot to please me, but I am a picky eater. And I think, you know, like when you go in these people's houses, sometimes there's a cat walking across the top of the work surfaces or something like that. Or the flies. Oh. Anyway, that's it, people. Thank you for watching. I'm over and out. Tell your friends.